Sworn is Coop Hades with its own spin. And I don't want to imply that they stole Hades' formula, but I do believe that developers of Sworn loved Hades and wanted to play it with friends. So let's talk about it. Sworn is set in dark Arthurian legend Camelot. It is now ruled by the evil King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. You play as a Soulforged Knight, one of 4, and have access to different weapons, spells and upgrades. In Hades style, you will run through different rooms and biomes to challenge Arthur and his knights. One of the notable things is the toned down story, at least in early access. Maybe that would diminish the co-op experience and that's why they dropped it, or maybe it's coming later. I do have a friend that preferred the low story focus so we can get into the action faster, and he prefers Sworn over Hades for that reason. So, if you are like my friend, this is Sworn and it's made out of pretty good stuff. The Soulforged Knights, there is 4 of them, a vigilante, an all-around fighter/ranger having options for melee and range combat, a monk, a caster of swords with options like magical staff or book. You literally throw pages at the enemies and have a variety of supportive and offensive spells. You have Rook, a tanky character with a shield and parry spells, axes and a cannon, and a Spectre, a mage kind of glass cannon character with sights or arcane blades and offensive spells. Each one of them has a distinctive feel, and you will quickly find your favorite combination of weapons and spells for each class. After you unlock them, that is, since it is a roguelite, you will need to work to get them all. But you unlock them pretty fast. Also, each weapon has a small ability tree associated with. You will spend rare resources to improve your favorite weapons. These are nothing special, but they can put you into a certain playstyle with a given weapon. Overall, these upgrades feel good and it's one of the things that you will work towards. On top of that, there is a classic Hades-style resource you will spend to increase your capabilities for all the runs in the future. 5 skill trees that upgrade a special part of your character, extra hit points, starting gold, extra dash, spell damage, and the like. It feels really familiar and it's well executed. And then there are blessings, the godlike powers you will be assigning to your moves. These modify your light and heavy attacks, dash and spell with extra power and effects. The name of the game is creating a build for that run by combining different boons of one god and mix-matching them with others. And sometimes you might even see a dual boon, synergizing with the both gods' abilities. And you get to experience all of that solo or with a group of friends. Having done some runs solo, I noticed that the game design is maybe leaning slightly towards the co-op experience. But then again, I'm really not good at video games, so I had slight more difficult time than I have expected, especially since I have dumped a lot of time into Hades. It's not that the game feels unfair or punishing, it's just that some elements are slightly clunky or unbalanced, and there are times where the jump in difficulty surprises you. For example, when you beat the boss and get into the new zone, there is some slight up in the difficulty, or even some mini-bosses you encounter. I'm talking to you, crazy small rat. Just beat your ass so hard if you're not completely ready for them. Game feels much more smooth in co-op though. I played with 2 friends mostly, and we were still presented with a challenge, but it felt great, just tuned right. And I really want to stress how great resurrection of your fallen teammates feel in the game when you play in co-op. It is one of the things in the game design that really have left me amazed. So basically there are 3 options you have when resing a fallen ally. You can pay with gold, which gets progressively more expensive as you use it, with your own current hit points, or with whole team's maximum hit point percentage. This way you're given the options to choose on how you proceed and how you take your boons and resources into consideration when resing an ally. And it can feel punishing for sure, but it's great because it can quickly differentiate good runs from bad, and it forces you to consider how to proceed depending on your place in the run and the boons you have, and how much gold are you carrying on yourself. And playing in co-op is really impacted not only by your build, but the whole team's composition. We would constantly discuss what boons to go for, and one run the three of us were slamming stun build-up on our attacks that were supported by extra damage to the stunned enemies. We just ran around stunning enemies and erasing them from the existence, and we would even stun bosses 2 or 3 times in a fight. Challenge was still there, we had used few reses, but good builds and composition carried us all the way to the last boss. It was tough, but we prevailed and bested Arthur. And on top of that, you can just roll with any knight you like, or try to build combinations of characters to have certain strategies. On our successful run, I ran a monk with defensive AoE bubble spell that would negate 50% of the damage from the next hit. I later upgraded it to full negate of the damage, and even later when the bubble was up, me and my teammates would have a 15% damage bonus. There is a lot of variety how you and your teammates can approach each run, from meta progressions or just upgrades you pick on each run. The combat and boons, the powers that you get, feel pretty great. There are some that maybe feel a bit undertuned and weaker than the others, but in general, you can run with anything you want pretty well. Also, I have to talk a little bit about the art and the atmosphere of the game, because it's really cool. The art is rough, but in a kind of a good way, with popping colors and rough edges around the details and the characters. Music is particularly good. A kind of metal mix with some medieval tones really gets your blood pumping when the action is on. The biomes lack a little bit in the art department to differentiate themselves, but nothing bad. In the end, all is married together into heavy metal mystical gloom that works. All in all, my short time with Sworn was very positive. And I say short because I don't like to play too much of games in early access. I had previous situations when I would overplay some games during the EA periods and would never later return to them. And I think it's a shame that you don't get to experience the game at 1.0 if you overplay it in early access. And I have spent 70 hours in Enshrouded and I had to force myself to stop playing it. But already Sworn is a loaded package with lots of stuff to unlock and try out. And on top of that, there are multiple difficulties for you to try after you finish your first run, and there is a roadmap promising future updates like new biomes and bosses, alternate boss fights, and plenty of quality of life features. I wish the developers best of luck and hope you will check this awesome game if you have any enjoyment in roguelites or Hades. Anyway, that's all from me today, and if you enjoyed the video, consider clicking the things down below, dropping a comment, and as always, thank you for watching.